back to another tutorial today. All right, so today we are going to be cutting a shirt. I'm going to teach you how to cut a shirt. So for being the first to leave a comment on my previous video, I'm sending a shout out to Mrs. Titilola Osho, and she's a CEO of Lola's Learning Hub. Kindly follow her on all her social media handles that I'm posting. Thank you very much, Ma Lola. We appreciate your contribution to this channel. Measurements I'm going to be taking now is the shoulder measurement. So for this, my client is shoulder is 18. So shoulder measurements divided by 2, we have 9. So 18 divided by 2, I have 9. So I'm going to mark my 9 inches like this. Then on this 9 inches mark, I'm going to take my 1 inch slope downward. So I hope you can see it. So I'm going to mark my 1 inch shoulder slope, and after marking the 1 inch shoulder slope, on this line I'm going to mark my armhole measurement, the armhole depth measurement. So for this client, his armhole is 11. His armhole is 10. Sorry, 10. So I'm going to mark the line 10. So I'm going to be joining the two lines together with a ruler to give me a straight line. So I hope you can see that. Then after that, I'm going to be marking my neck width. So the neck width I'm using for this is 2.5, 2.5 inches. All my measurements are done in inches and not centimeters. So 2.5 inches wide, and I'm going to be going down by 2.5 inches depth. So 2.5 by 2.5. So I'll connect the shoulder slope with the neck measurement, the neck width measurement, the line where I marked the neck width. I'm going to connect it together with a straight line. So you have it like that. All right, I hope you can see this. That's my shoulder slope, and this is my armhole right there. Piece. So I'm going to be using 1.5 inches for the back. This is the back that I'm cutting. So 1.5 inches depth for the neck depth, 1.5 inches. So the next thing is to take the shoulder to chest measurement. So for my client, the shoulder to chest measurement is 11. So on this point, I'm going to be marking my round chest measurement divided by 4. So for my client, his round chest measurement is 20. I'm going to be adding 2 is 40. I'm going to be adding 2 inches to make it 42. Oh, sorry, 44. I'll be adding 4 inches because it's a vintage shirt, so it's not fitted, it's free. You know how it's the vintage shirt style is. So I'm going to be adding 4 inches to make it 44. So my 44 inches divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. So I'm going to be marking 11 inches, and I will add 1 inch for seam allowance. So 1 inch line, 11 inches plus 1 will give me 12. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I just added 1 inch to my chest measurements as seam allowance. So I'm marking 12 inches here, just right there. If you notice, I folded my fabric at exactly the measurements that I needed. The exact measurement that I needed. This is just the best way to do when you are cutting your fabric, to avoid wasting of excess fabric. So after that, I'm going to be marking my length, the shirt length for this my client is 30. The shirt length is 30. So I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches to the length to make it 31.5. So this 1.5 inches is going to be my hemming allowance. So the first one, the initial length for the shirt is 30. So plus my 1.5 inches, making it 31.5. So after marking it like this, I would move my measuring tape also, and then I'll mark at the other end to align the lines together. And luckily for me, this print makes it easier for me to get the lines. So after that, I connect with my ruler, the long ruler. And then the hemming allowance as well, I connect with the long ruler. All right, so the next thing I'm doing now is to carve out the armhole measurement. So I'm going to come out, the standard way to do it is to come out by 1 or 2 inches depending on your choice. So I am coming out by 1.5 inches because that is what fits my client most. And then I'm going to be taking my armhole curve, and I'm making the curve across the armhole line. So coming from my armhole curve, then you ensure that your curve stops where your 1 inch from this angle 90, where your 1 inch comes out. You ensure that that is where your armhole is staying. It shouldn't come in, rather it will stay on this 1 inch that I have marked. This line, I hope you can see this line, and then you carve it out like that. This fabric is not making the chalk to show, but I hope you all can see it. So because it's a free shirt, I'm not going to be bringing out the shape. I'll just go on to measure the hip measurements that I have. The same that I used for the bust is what I'm going to be using for the base of the top. So you have it like this, 12 inches as I have marked at the top. You know, initially it is 11 inches, then plus 1 inch for the allowance. Let me indicate it here as well so that you see it. So 11 inches and then 1 inch allowance. And come here as well, you mark the 11 inches and 1 inch allowance. So what you do is to connect the lines together. You connect the lines together with a straight line. So after that, we are going to come to carve out the neck depth that we have measured earlier on. So still using this tool, you carve out the neck depth. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'm carving out the neck depth like in the U shape, the same way you have carved out the armhole. I'm going to do the same for this as well. So we are practically done with the back piece of our shirt. So So I'm going to cut this out now. The front piece. Now, to make my work easier, I'll just place the back piece on the folded fabric. One major thing that distinguishes the front from the back when making a shirt, or two things rather, we have the neck. The front neck is a bit deeper than the back, and then we have the buttonhole palette. So I've added extra inches. So what I did was place my fabric, my back piece on the folded fabric, and then I adjusted it to fit into 2 inches allowance. This is more or less like how it happens when you are making your zip allowance. So instead of zip, we have the button allowance. So it is between 1 inch to 2 inches maximum. So I have decided to use 2 inches, and that is what I have here. So what I'm going to be doing next is to mark my neck depth for the front, 2.5 neck depth for the front, and then I cut out the shape of the back piece that I have on the front piece. So that's just basically it. I've already added my button allowance, so, and I've marked out the neckline. So it goes this way. This is the square for my back and for my neck, and then the allowance starts from here. The 2 inches allowance starts from there. So I'm just going to place my curve the same way I did for the other one. That's what I'm going to be doing. So basically is what I just did. So you curve out. See that? I hope this thing is visible enough for you all to see. The fabric is not really allowing me to mark the chalk on it, but I think we can manage. So then I go ahead to cut it out. Done with the bodies of the shirt. So the next thing now is to cut the sleeve and the collar. So right now I'm going to take my sleeve length measurement, and after which I would take my cap height measurement. To get the cap height, you divide your bust by 12. Whatever answer you have is what you use for your cap height. Now, for you to have a proper understanding of this sleeve I'm drafting, I already made a video on how to draft a basic sleeve pattern. So I wanted to watch the video so that you understand clearly what I'm doing here. It's a very simple video, a tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve block, out of which you can alter to get any other type of block, any other type of sleeve that you want. So please watch the video, and after watching, then you can get what I'm doing here properly. Alright, so that would be all for this tutorial. I wanted to watch out for the sewing part of this tutorial, and also watch out for my collar video for this shirt. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you for subscribing. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel. If you are a first timer, thank you for stopping by. And if you are an old friend, thank you very much for coming back again. I want you to like this video. I want you to share to any student of fashion or fashion enthusiast that you know that is going to help, that is going to benefit from watching this video. Please leave comments behind. If you have any question regarding this tutorial or any other tutorial I've done in time past, kindly leave question for me in the comments. I'm going to answer them. Thank you very much for staying tuned. See you guys in the next video.